Welcome back to Texas Tea. I'm Roger D, where I bring on hustlers, entrepreneurs, and businesses from our great state of Texas to talk about their success stories. Today's guest is a repeat guest. You saw him on season 1. We actually were in his courtroom at the time, and I brought him into our humble abode for this recording. If you guys recall, he started his career as a musician, slapping the bass, and he realized shortly after that he wanted to better serve the community and realized he could help individuals avoid getting the cuffs slapped on them, so slightly different slapping. And then serving the great city of Houston, eventually the calling came for him to step up as a judge. And not only did he, in my view, revolutionize how things should be handled there with ease and calm, but he also brought unprecedented style continually every day. So today I get to present probably the best dressed, if not best defense attorney in all of Houston, Judge George Powell.
Thank you. Thank you for that warm welcome. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries, man. Always jealous of the threads.
Well, thank you.
Always looking sharp.
Try to stay on top, you know?
Yeah, man, of course. And I know, like last time we were in your courtroom, so that was pretty cool. We had that during COVID time, which was interesting, I think, for the most part, right?
Right,
What was
right.
that?
Sure was.
Yeah, so, and you were telling me how you were taking a lot of remote hearings.
Right. Did
at
a lot
the
of
time.
Zoom hearings.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of technology in that time frame. Now you are back to defending the people of Houston and further, right?
Defending the innocent. That's right.
Defending the innocent, right? And I feel like last time we spoke about this, you had mentioned how as much as you loved being a judge, there's a completely different thrill to being a defense attorney, if that's correct.
There is. I agree. And I think that, and as you mentioned, I go all over the state of Texas. I do federal cases in other states as well. Yeah. And so, it really is thrilling when you can help somebody to the point where, they're worried about their life and if they're going to have a life after this. But if you can help them and they get to walk away from it, so that makes you feel really good.
Yeah. And that kind of want to help others succeed in getting out of the literal shackles at times,
right,
of a life behind bars. That kind of stemmed from a want on your end when you were younger to help the community. So I think we kind of talked about a little bit of how things started when you first became a musician and, when you decided to be a lawyer, but kind of walk me through that, because if I recall, you had a kind of a long time frame and also a little bit of in terms of hurdles to get over. So I think it was a pretty good story. So if you can bring me back to when you were just slapping that bass, and where we got into legal again.
Well, you have a really good memory, because you're right. It took me a long time to get through school. I was the first one to graduate college in my family, and it took me 11 years to get a 4-year degree. So you do recall that long, arduous struggle.
Yeah.
And the hurdles to get over. So like while my friends were in fraternities and doing other things, I worked, so I didn't join much of anything. Excuse me. And so I didn't have some of those experiences, but I had good ones, because the struggle, teaches you a lot along the way.
Yeah. And what would you say through all that was the kind of drive that kept you going?
I think just wanting to be successful, and I know you know this, because I can tell, because you are so successful. Where you're ultimately going to end up. You can have a kid who's probably 5 years old. Who knows? He's going to be successful one day in something that he chooses to do. And so, that long struggle, I knew the whole time I was going to end up here ultimately.
Got you. So even when you were, I guess, playing different venues, you had it in the back of your head that you were going to, no matter what, get to a different spot, to a higher spot.
Right.
Got
right.
you. Okay. So you had that drive from a little kid. Was it always, because I know you're telling me, and I think I recall, you're saying that even when you're in school as a young kid, you're like always trying to defend people.
Right.
Okay.
You really have a good memory. That's right. I was always the one defending, someone who wasn't there while everybody else is talking about him,
Right.
I thought, well, he's not here. So, start defending him. And so I thought, anybody who spends that much time defending other people ought to get paid for it. So,
I know that's right. So you went to, I apologize, I forgot what school.
Law school or undergrad?
Law school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And aside from law school, the funny thing is I actually went to a total of 4 universities before I graduated. And so, but I graduated law school here after graduating college in Baltimore at Towson University. Graduated at Texas Southern over here at Thurgood Marshall School of Law in Houston.
Got you. Thurgood Marshall. I feel like I've always heard of Thurgood Marshall through movies. For some reason, I always catch that. But yeah, so you got so you ended there, and then if I also recall, and sorry guys for trying to basically recall on my own here, but you had started an office that was with a lawyer that was kind of on the verge of retiring.
He was, and it's funny you should mention him. I just talked to him before I came here, and when I came out of law school, he was going to retire. I think this was in May. I joined him. Yeah. Because his the guy he shared space with had just died of mad cow disease, and
yeah.
Which I'm thinking like, okay, who dies of that?
That's really random. Yeah.
So he.
Whenever I think of mad cow disease, I think of Oprah.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I don't know. I remember watching a special where she was going over mad cow disease.
She got that suit slapped on her.
Yeah,
right? That's right. Remember by the beef industry?
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember
a lot of slapping going around here.
Right. So it's but with Jerry, his name is Jerry Fry. Shout out to Jerry Fry. Jerry was going to retire, and I said, well, why would you retire? He said, nobody's coming through the door anymore. And so I said, no, you need to stay right here. I said, because I can bring people through the door, but I don't have the experience you have. Yeah. So we can work together and make this thing work. So long story short, this was 20 years ago. Excuse me, I have bad allergies. And he's still in the industry. We're working on a federal case together right now. So,
oh wow! So you basically, he was ready to go, and you're like, sit there. Hold my beer.
That's right.
I got this.
Well, he used to tell me, we started off sharing office space, and I think the agreement was I would give him like a half a month's rent for a month and a half of time. He said, after that time, if you like it here, you'll sign a lease. We'll work it out, whatever. Well, I liked him. He liked me. We never signed the lease, but we stayed there together for 2 years after that. And then I said, we got to step our game up. We get some more space, get some more attorneys. And the good thing was he would always let me make all the decisions because he would say, if it wasn't for you coming along, I wouldn't even be here. So I got to make all the decisions.
So you guys partnered up essentially at that point. Right. And you were saying you were really good at getting people through the door. So at that time, social media wasn't as big.
Right.
What was the secret sauce of yours to get those initial clients?
Social media wasn't big, but my mouth was big. So, I had a good friend of mine who's a prominent attorney here in Houston. We graduated around the same time, and he told me one day, he said, have you ever thought of opening an office back where you're from? He said, because everybody, and you're not even from here. He said, myself and my brother who practice together, said our father was a prominent doctor, and, we got all of his old patients. And so he's like, but you bring people through the door just, and hustle. Excuse me, I apologize for that.
No worries.
If we were in court, I'd be in trouble.
Yeah, it's okay. You're the judge, so whatever goes.
Judge for life, right?
Judge for life.
Once you're judge, you're always judge.
Yeah, so. I love that. So basically, you're saying the doctor was saying that they just kind of inherited everything, but on your end, you just had a large social network?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. And, as crazy as it sounds, that primarily came from being out in bars at night and, being
Yeah,
in places
yeah.
where there are people who get in trouble,
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you get out there, you put your card out,
Okay,
and
okay,
next
okay.
thing you know, they're calling you, when I, excuse me, when I was in law school, although you're not supposed to have a job, I had a full-time job all 3 years of law school,
Oh.
and it was with
What's the reason you
Continental.
can't have a job? What was the reason?
They want you to be more focused on your success in school and less on working. After your first year, they're not as worried about it.
Got you, got you.
Because the first year is very tough to make it back.
You ever see the movie Rounders?
No, I don't think I saw that.
Oh, okay. It's with Matt Damon, and it's about him playing cards. He was in law school, loses all his money. So now I know that the job he was working.
See? He's a no-no.
Yeah, no. I think it was NYU
Really?
Law School. Yeah, right? They have a law school?
Yeah.
I think so. But anyways, keep going. I'm sorry.
Well, just that one of the people that I didn't really work with him, but I used to fly back and forth, go home to Maryland a lot. And I met a flight attendant on a plane, a guy that I met, and I said, hey, I used to work with the company, so I give discounts to everybody, anybody at the company that needs anything. So I gave him a card.
Yeah.
And he said, thank you, but I'll never need your card, but I'll take it. And I said, okay. So he called the next week, because you know how things go.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, it wasn't him. It was his mother-in-law, who was a bus driver with Goose Creek ISD.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow she closed the door, and there was a little girl's backpack in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And so she didn't know it. She's riding along, and the girl is actually,
Oof.
all she did is pick her feet up,
Yeah.
and she's riding on the side of the bus.
Oh.
So one of the other bus drivers, they radio her and tell her, you have a kid hanging on the side of the bus.
Oh, wow.
But they charged her with a crime for that.
What?
Criminally negligent. Yeah. I mean, you can get charged for anything.
Yeah.
But so it pays to have somebody around who can help you.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's crazy, man.
Do you win that case?
Yeah.
Okay. Good job.
I mean, come on. This lady ended up retiring, and
Yeah.
of course she was traumatized, and the little girl wasn't hurt.
Right.
But the past administrations in the DA's office were not the best, and so they were a little bit abusive. Well, not a little bit, a lot. So a lot of people who shouldn't have gone to jail probably did.
What? How come a DA's office is at times so aggressive like that?
Because they can be.
Okay.
Because they have the full power of the government, and they'll kick your ass while you're trying to defend yourself with the little bit of money you got, and you can go out and find yourself an attorney, a solar practitioner who, needs to go through all the discovery and needs to see all the evidence in your case. The state's got hundreds of people to do that,
Right. So everything's stacked against you.
Right.
Got you. So in those cases, like, how would someone, obviously they were lucky enough to find you, but how would someone, looking down the barrel of the DA, essentially, how can they have hope that they're not going to get internally in debt just trying to defend themselves?
Well, they probably are, unless they're blessed to have money.
Yeah.
It's probably going to set you back.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, fortunately, the DA's office in this current climate is not as, as harsh as the previous administrations were.
Yeah. And I think that was actually one of the, we were talking about before how Mary Nan Huffman actually was on this show.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think I ever said that.
No,
to you,
I didn't know
that. How that was kind of one of the sticking points was that the current administration was a little too lax. And how do you find, like, not to go to just questions of curiosity, how do you find because you were as judge, how do you find that middle ground where you're not too harsh or not too lenient? How do you kind of keep yourself, when you're a judge, how do you keep yourself just completely unbiased? Sorry, let me back it up. I feel like a lot of the televised cases that we see, it's easy for someone to say, man, that judge is super biased. Like, there's no way that should have happened, or that it should have been tougher, or should have been more lenient. What do you feel like is the main reason that you're able to stay unbiased through all of that?
Well, one of the things I think excuse me, and there are many. But one of the things I think that plays into that is that a lot of the previous judges, to me, judges who were on the bench previous to me, were prosecutors first.
Mm.
I wasn't a prosecutor. I was a defense attorney.
Ah.
And additional to that, I'm sure, I could name plenty of family members who were on the other side of the bars.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of fairness, trying to treat everybody equally. And, I think I might have told you, perhaps on the last show, I'm not sure, but we had a situation where I think one of the last cases that I tried, there was a man who was sexually assaulting his two young cousins, and I gave him a whole lot of time. I mean, I'm a defense attorney too. I'm fair. I mean, I advise my clients on what they should and shouldn't do, and that's one of the things nobody should do. And so, but after the case was over, the attorney ran up and said, "Why'd you give him so much time? I've seen you give murderers less time."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, this is Texas, and some people need killing, but nobody needs that. You can show me a 5-year-old that needs that.
Yeah.
I'll let you guy walk out of here."
Yeah,
But at the same time, I try to advise my clients, because I am there to defend them and to protect them.
Right.
We have a big problem now with defendants who come back with new cases after they're already on bond for a case or cases.
Yeah.
And so I tell my clients, whatever you do, the biggest problem you could have is coming back here with another case. So don't pick up another case,
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been asked by the news about some of the current judges and how they make judgments on people that they let on bond, and they said, "Well, in your previous history, you never had this problem. What's the difference?" And I think experience is the difference. Experience, logic, common sense, but mostly experience, and some of them have it and some don't.
How does someone become a judge with limited experience?
Well, under under our current laws, you can become a judge after practicing 5 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's, in my opinion, not enough time to learn what you need to learn. And so someone could practically,
Whoa.
walk out of law school and just run for judge. We're elected here in Texas.
Whoa. So it's including an experience when you're in school.
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
Okay.
It's got to be. You got to be practicing.
Oh,
you got to
okay,
be
okay,
licensed.
okay.
It doesn't mean you have to be licensed here,
Oh, wow.
which is not good either.
That's
So
terrible.
there's some considerations by the legislature currently to possibly increase the number of years before you could run,
Yeah.
because it can create some problems.
So that creates a real big problem, I think, in electing judges, because then people are looking at the face value instead of the track record in the
Right.
court,
Right.
because it's really, because who's going to do the research to see how much experience it is? They're just going to see the face and the name and the
And that's exactly the problem. Nobody researches anything.
yeah.
They just listen to what some other corrupt politician tells them to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
And I feel like judges are kind of an afterthought on the ballot
right.
for most people.
When you really should give it a lot of consideration, because they're on the local level. If you should get in trouble, they're the people you're going to see,
Yeah.
But instead, they're trying to vote on party and race and gender and name, things that really are relevant to, the fairness and the justice that should go on there.
Yeah. So if you could have your way on how electing judges would go, just a hypothetical question,
Mm-hmm.
what would you change about the state's electoral process?
I don't really think I would increase the number of years required before you could run.
Yeah.
That for sure. But one of the big problems is, as you mentioned, the lack of research on the part of the voters.
Yeah.
So what's also under consideration is taking that away from the voters and have them be appointed, which some people don't like. But I think at the same time, you probably get more qualified people that way. But it takes away voters' rights. But you probably get better candidates.
Yeah, that's an interesting possibility, because I think that's one of our biggest contentions for the Supreme Court, right? Because it's like, well, whatever political party is in that administration, that's who you're going to get. So I would assume would be one of the biggest concerns there. Do you think there's like a middle ground where it could be like at least someone puts up some candidates and then there could be a voter. I don't know. But
excuse me. Well, unless and until the voters try to become more knowledgeable and educate themselves on who's running, they don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 5 million people almost in this county, and it's just nobody looks at, for example, if you have a judge now that's got an issue right now, and it's highly contested or it's a hot issue, by the time the election comes, nobody remembers that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so,
That's crazy. It's crazy to think that it's really kind of, you get someone deciding the fate of an individual in a case based on kind of shallow reasonings to pick them, maybe.
Sometimes.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. But anyways, I'm not on here to make sweeping opinions about politics. That's definitely, I know nothing when it comes to politics. So, but anyways, so yeah, I just kind of was curious about that. So obviously, kind of rolling back what we were talking about, social media wasn't big for you, but you had an extremely large mouth when it came to creating a network of people, and it seems that you were mostly just going to a target-rich environment.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to put it. I like that.
Yeah, target-rich environment, an area that has a lot of people that might get in trouble, and being like, hey, just in case you get in trouble or it's perceived you get in trouble, here it is. So what's the equivalent to that you're practicing now to kind of get that new blood in the water?
I still rely a lot on word of mouth.
Okay.
Prior clients who recommend me to people.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, things like I would say Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And excuse me, I should have taken my Claritin before I got here.
No worries.
But LinkedIn, just various other
I got you.
social media platforms.
And if you keep coughing more, by the way, Gonzalo is going to make a remix of your coughs. I wish we were that good. That would be pretty amazing. But you should definitely keep that in, please. But let's say someone just got out of law school themselves, and they are like, "How do I start?" Because you can't outwardly solicit, right? Like you can't the chasing of the ambulance is completely illegal, right?
Right.
Yeah. And you can't go and like knock on doors and solicit for you can't outwardly solicit. Am I correct here?
Under the rules, you're not supposed to do that. Some
Yeah.
people do it, of course.
Yeah.
And, they get disciplined if they get caught. But
you can market, right?
you can market.
So if you had to start over today,
Mm-hmm.
and you had minimal social circle, or you just had the social circle you had, what would be your go-to right now with the technology we have?
Excuse me. I would rely heavily on Instagram.
Yeah.
And as a new attorney, I would go and find an older attorney who maybe is ready to retire, or maybe is not generating that much business, but can teach you things, and you can use those things to kind of enhance your repertoire of ways that you handle cases. But always get out there in front of the people. Always be out there, and while I give that advice, it works well in business. It may not always work well, like in things like relationships.
Yeah.
Because my ex-wife used to complain. You come home at 2 a.m. and you're back at work at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, I'm socializing till 2 a.m., but then at 6 a.m. I'm working.
Yeah.
So you gotta juggle all the balls. So when I told a group that I met with at University of Houston, they have a solo practitioners club, and I said, if you're somebody that likes to be out socializing, find somebody that doesn't, and you guys pair up.
Right.
So while you're out chopping it up, bring it home, and they can cook it up. You can work together.
I like that. While you're out chopping it up, they're at home cooking it up.
That's it.
There you go. So it's a good partnership. Yeah. I think my partner Mindy and I were kind of that way. She's definitely much better at socializing than I am.
You seem pretty good at it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm okay. have the occasional run in on the rooftop bar with you.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely say I'm not good at cooking, but that's a good thought, that pair up with someone who can not only be a mentor, but it's kind of the opposite in terms of how you are. Definitely really good there. I think honestly, in general, I think getting out there and socializing, and this made me think I should probably hit you up more to whenever you're going out, because I realized creating that social circle, like I realized that even though like everyone that's very close to me, like knows what I do, knows Eastwood, knows the Texas tea, like there's no one like out there. I don't have that big of a social circle.
Okay.
But word of mouth is huge, because if I could start to kind of they're like, hey, this guy is a really good presence just to be around. I wonder what he does. And then
Right.
they're like, oh, Roger's just a really good guy. And his company sells electricity. I know this guy might need it. Like you start to put that out.
That's
Plus you get to know people who might open another door, because you could be like, hey, does anyone know anyone that works at this location, or is a higher up at this location? You could start asking. But when you're out socializing, it's not for business per se. You're just there to essentially give good vibes, and then
That's it.
they figure out.
That's
Yeah.
right. And you can, like you said, move in so many different circles, and you meet the right people, and you want to kind of stay connected with them, and they can open doors for you, and you can
Yeah.
open doors for them. In addition to law, I'm also in real estate and trying to get off the ground a cigar bar that's going to be
Oh,
in Katy.
Very
that's
cool.
that's going to be good. It's cocktails, food,
Oh,
cigar
got
bar.
you.
That's going to be
I
nice,
got you.
man.
I'm gonna have one of my I would say ex-customers. Not that he left me, but he sold his place. His son always wanted to start a cigar bar, so I'm gonna have to tell Naveed about that.
Yeah, it'll be a very nice one.
When are you gonna open that up?
It's actually ready. It's ready to open now.
Shoot. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
I'm gonna have to take a look at your bill.
Yeah.
See what we can do. But
but
where's
you're
it?
right though.
Yeah. Where's it off of?
I-10, right by Katy Mills Mall.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
you. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
you're right. You're gonna have to come out and check things out. See
All
what
right.
you think.
Is there scotch there too?
Yeah, got plenty of that. Yeah, whatever you want.
course.
We got it there. We got
Of
it
course. So aside from socializing, you're saying that like Instagram and Facebook. So I'm assuming a lawyer can run ads,
there. Yes.
right?
Yes,
So what have you run ads?
I haven't since I came off the bench.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I think during
before-
elections I had some ads.
Okay. If you're essentially trying to market your law firm, what do you feel like? Because everyone likes video and catching attention.
Right.
What do you think? I remember I saw one time someone, they had very profane videos about shutting the F up.
Oh yeah.
Call us.
Right.
So I remember that caught my attention.
Uh-huh.
What do you feel like are some, things because there's so much going on in this current atmosphere that someone could be like, make a video around if they're a defense attorney?
You know what? I think just anything social that you're doing, especially now with COVID kind of, in my opinion, I guess you'd say hitting a lull or coming to an end.
Yeah.
More people
Hitting
are
a
just
lull.
going to be out there. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Everybody, everywhere. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And I think that if video, like you said, videos is what's happening now. I think that print ads, not so much.
Yeah, that's dying, I think.
And even I used to have a billboard, a lot of money, didn't
Yeah.
give me anything.
It's like
except
$8,000 a month, isn't it?
It was, oh man, this was probably maybe 10 years ago, and I was
Yeah.
paying $3,000 a month for it.
Whoa.
It didn't get me anything but some old girlfriends I was trying to dodge. That's all. But it didn't get me much business.
Yeah.
And so I was actually approached by TV people
Mm-hmm.
saying, you're paying so much for this billboard, and it's probably not getting you much. You might as well advertise on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the good thing is, TV obviously very video, audio video oriented. Well, so is social media now, and that's
Yeah.
the cost is a fraction of advertising on TV, and you can
Yeah.
still hit a pretty big market.
You ever think of doing TikToks?
Yeah. In fact, I intend to do that, but I'm going to wait until my daughter comes back to Houston so she can
can help
teach
you
me
out.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
I feel like you could kill it because, first of all, you look super slick. So you always look super slick. I think, honestly, I think the dreads would be a huge winner on TikTok because it instantly grabs attention.
I like that, man. That's good.
Yeah,
good,
I think
marketing.
that. Yeah,
See,
yeah.
I'm a marketer.
And then, yeah.
And I want to play my bass on there.
I was just gonna say, slap in the bass.
Right.
It just just singing just like who's the lead singer of Rush? Because he was a bass player too.
Geddy Lee. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
There you
He's
go.
Play bass.
Just put out some ballads about don't don't open your mouth until you
Right.
call me.
Right.
The only time you should open your mouth is when you're talking to me on the phone.
That's right. And
There you go.
That's exactly it. I told a client that today, and this is actually a major case and someone you would probably know,
Yeah.
and you'd be surprised how someone who, is just like a normal human being doing his everyday job and things that he does in his normal life can end up in a huge amount of trouble
Yeah.
on some bullshit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, just in some nonsense. And so, but I think we got him saved. I think he's good now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But I mean, anybody can accuse you of anything,
Yeah.
Anybody.
I think, because it's kind of normal stuff. You could probably put together like a list of what the, Gen Zers that are coming into age, and also obviously millennials, normal stuff that they could fall in the wrong spot,
Mm-hmm.
and and then talk about it on there and just give a lot of knowledge. Like, hey, when something like this happens, here's your rights, or a lot of people, even talk about speeding tickets, maybe
Mm-hmm.
stuff like. I mean, I bet you would get a ton of hits. People don't want to pay speeding tickets.
I'm going to go on TikTok and do that. So, I actually was doing that on Facebook and Instagram. I would kind of, because I practice several areas, although I don't usually do family law. I used to do family law before I was judge, and I'll come on sometimes and make comments, or, especially when it comes to parents and their child support and their visitation.
Yeah.
I come on and I'll shoot a short video about, if you're the non-custodial parent, don't interfere with the rights of the other person, even if you don't get your money, you're supposed to get your money, and, so whether you're custodial, non-custodial, let your kids visit with the other person and pay the other person. Try to make them go out and do what they're supposed to do.
Pay the other person.
Yeah.
So that's a interesting topic, by the way, child support.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like there's some key tips on those who are seeking child support that maybe sometimes they miss?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it goes both ways. I feel like sometimes the guy is really hammered when he shouldn't be, and then sometimes either the girl isn't asking for enough, or she's just being too lenient on him. Like, what are your thoughts on that? And like, what are the common, just random, but what are the common misconceptions or common mistakes made in family court?
Well, with those, excuse me, I think that the fairness really has to come in there, because, like you said, some people, and statutorily, what you pay is based on what you make.
Right.
And so, it's funny because when I got divorced, I used to walk over to the family court. You could walk over there and you could just pay it at a window,
Yeah.
And so, although I love my daughter, you bite the bullet when you go over there to pay it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I really got a better appreciation of why I was paying it when one day I was at the window, and at the next window was a friend of mine, also an attorney.
Yeah.
And I said to him, so don't you hate paying this child support? And he said, yeah, but at least yours is not from a one-night stand. And I said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just shut up. Let me just shut up, because, I thought, man, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, you should try to get back with her. Try to get with her, man. Save yourself that money. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I love my kid, and I couldn't even tell you how much,
Yeah.
And and my ex-wife wasn't bad or anything.
Yeah.
It's actually me. I can admit that, but
Yeah.
that's what happens when you work at 6 a.m. and you come home at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
end up solo pretty soon.
Yeah, no, understandable.
So,
Understandable. So really, as long as it's correctly based on salary, it's mostly always fair.
Should be.
Yeah.
Should be.
And is it like the differential in salary and how much time
There's
the
a
child?
chart. Excuse
Okay.
me, and that chart would determine, based on your income and how many kids there are.
Okay.
That would determine what you pay.
I got you. Okay.
And there's a cap, incidentally. So, for example, I pay the cap.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, keep in mind.
Oh, okay.
But well, the reason I point that out to you is so that you understand that at the cap, for however many kids you have, in my case, one.
Yeah.
If Bill Gates lived in Texas and Bill Gates had one kid, that cap, he would pay that cap.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not going to matter that he's got billions of dollars.
Right.
At that point, because there's a cap.
Yeah.
And so once you hit the cap, you ain't got to pay anymore. So
Right. I got
so
you.
for guys who can afford it, I would recommend, if you put yourself at the cap, nobody can come back and get an increase. You know what I mean?
Right.
They can't increase it every year or however often they want to come back and ask for more money. I mean, you're paying the cap, but at the same time, you're not going back to court.
Right. So if you're close to the cap, you might as well just cap out because the lawyer's fees are going to be.
Well, if the mother comes back and wants more money, I mean, which frequently that happens, and I'm not saying it's because they're vindictive, but sometimes they need it. And so if you want to fulfill your obligations and not have to hear anybody's mouth or go to court, that's one way you can avoid having to go.
I got you. So all through this, your advice is if you can afford it, pay the cap.
I just highly recommend that if you're ordered to pay something and you can pay it, just pay it. Just don't. And if
because it's going to your kid.
Exactly, it's going to your kid. It's not for her. And on top of that, it's good karma, man. Just things will go good for you if you can manage to struggle through and do the things you're supposed to do. Man, you get nothing but good things come back to you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, hopefully I never have to be in that situation.
Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah. But thanks for the advice there. I kind of took a little bit of a detour with that one. I get these curiosities,
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're saying, that it's best for content and marketing to kind of be relatable to things that people are normally going through.
Right.
And then kind of just put that knowledge out there. Like you said, you're kind of putting it on Facebook and Instagram, just that knowledge. What kind of response were you getting?
Very, very good responses. Not only just numerically, but just in terms of the commentary that would come back.
Okay.
And a lot of people really appreciated those things. And of course, they're not going to forget them. So when the time comes that they have an issue associated with what you left a message about.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is an interesting point because anyone who's in the consumer facing market, I think if you are a common industry and you can just put knowledge out there, it doesn't really cost you anything to put knowledge out there. It doesn't take away from your ability to service them or represent them later. And then, like you said, the more knowledge you give, someone's going to remember that later.
That's right.
And now that I was kind of talking it out loud, I think if you can put a face to the knowledge and be a very personable person, then they're going to remember it even more.
That's right.
Because people will search, and they'll be like searching for something. YouTube will come up. If you happen to be on YouTube, they're just going to take that information and go if they're searching for it. But if you also entertain them at the same time, or you're someone who's very personable, they'll be like, okay, well, what else does he have to talk about? So obviously getting very relatable things. But, I feel like that's half the battle because then you got to win the cases.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So and I always wondered this, there's someone loses and someone wins. So like, how, not to throw anyone under the bus, but how many practices do you feel like are out there that are just like net losers? Can you answer that?
I'm not sure that I can actually. It's a funny question though.
Yeah.
You know, if but you make a good point. I mean, at the end of the day,
I mean, you're like the Michael Jordan of defense. So like, I know you multiple championships, but you know, there's obviously, you know, before, you know, recent situations, there's definitely the Suns out there, you know.
yeah, you know, the Suns are back.
Yeah, they're back now, but
Yeah, that's funny.
But more importantly, how can someone figure out? Because they're going to search for a lawyer, Google, kind of just, you know, there's thousands in the Houston area.
Right. The
How can
absolute best way, if they had the time,
yeah,
the best way would be to go sit in a courtroom and watch a trial. That would be the best way. But ain't nobody got time for that.
yeah.
So
Usually they're in like I need someone quick.
Right. And so one of the things that I was told when I won the election by the previous judge who I was taking over for,
Yeah.
he told me, you know, if nothing else, you're going to learn who the good attorneys are. Because when you're working hard and you're, you know, winning your cases or whatever you're doing, you don't have time to be watching what all these other guys are doing. So you think they're as competent and qualified as you are,
Right.
which is not always the case. And so, but when you're sitting on the bench, you'll learn who is and who isn't, you know. But for the common person who is just seeking the advice of an attorney or a recommendation for one, there are some websites like Avo that give ratings.
Avo.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
they give ratings. And so, you know, they'll also have, I guess, testimonials and things, and star
Yeah.
ratings and things like that.
Yeah. Is there
on
any
there.
way to dig up public records and?
Just in terms of, you mean like wins, losses, or
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that? That would be just voluminous. Or it wouldn't be worth your
Word
time.
I don't very use often.
Yeah, by the time you figured it out based on those records, you'd already be in jail. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
you
got
don't want to go that
you.
route. You know, it's
Yeah.
better to just, you know, ask your mama's cousin. You know,
Yeah.
you know, cousin Ray.
Your
Somebody
cousin Ray.
yeah, get somebody that's had some experience in the tank. You know.
Right. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're in the tank, probably don't use their lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, some of them have been in there and they're like, hey, I used this guy. This guy helped me out. He got me out, or you know.
Yeah, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of anecdotal experiences.
Yeah, and what's funny now is, you'll appreciate this. A lot of people that contact me, I probably have 4 clients now who are like, you remember me? You put me in jail. Or you remember me? You put me on probation.
Ooh.
You know?
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I did? What for, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny, the guy that did the countertops in my house, his cousin, apparently I put him on probation.
Oh.
And so after I left the bench, he called me and he said, hey, I just wanted to call and see if you could represent me. He said, I'm in trouble again. I said, for what? He's like, the same thing that you put me on probation for. Oh,
So
man.
you're like, so I was right.
Yeah, you know, it's like just conflicts, you know, just conflicts.
Yeah, that's got to be something to have people that are like, hey, I remember. So do you think they recognize how good you were on the bench? So they're like, okay, maybe.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, he knows this from the inside out.
Yeah,
so let
yeah.
me go to him and, you know, see what he can do for me.
So I wonder if this is the ideal defense attorney to find, or prosecutor at that, would be someone who's seen both sides of the bench.
Right. And so, excuse me, with my friends who have been judged versus the ones who are, I got elected with a lot of well-qualified judges, and they're still there. But I told them the real value in being judge is not while you're judge; it's after you've been judge. You know.
Yeah.
So you know that's where that, you know, lucrative history comes in after that.
Yeah.
You know, and then you can afford to buy nice cars like yours. You know.
Okay, and yours.
Well, you had yours first, so
That's,
you know.
all right, fair. Oh man. Well, yeah, it's that's another interesting factor, because you do all this work to get to an elected position, but you were telling me that like it obviously you're pay is significantly different. So
Yeah. So whereas before your judge, you're chasing your clients down to pay you, and after your judge, they're chasing you down
yeah,
to pay you.
yeah, right. So a little bit different. But I think I asked this before. How come you decided that you wanted to switch from attorney to judge? Like, what was the aha moment?
Well, you did talk to me about that, and that was because I had a conflict with a county commissioner who thought that I incarcerated too many people, which is funny considering I was a defense attorney
Yeah,
and then went to judge, and I incarcerate too many people.
yeah.
So actually, Harris County is not voting for men right now. So all women won the elections.
Yeah.
And so whether you were a man who was running for the first time or someone who'd been on the bench 20 years, whatever, women won all the benches. And so, and minority women. So right now, I think that I don't know what the trend will be on the next election, but I had a friend he's a judge, and he's like, "Man, I know I'm done." He goes, "Because I'm a straight white male."
Yeah. No, that's another interesting. We were going back to how it's when you're voting, it's very, very much, I think not only is a judge kind of on the back of the ballot for the most part, but it's also going to be, with the current trend or current administration or current maybe more shallow type situation.
That's right.
Do you feel like that kind of push for more diversity on the bench though will give a more maybe diversified look into cases? Because like you're saying, experience, right, kind of makes someone really good at a judge. Do you think maybe different walks of life could kind of put a new breath of air into the judicial system?
That does too. You definitely could improve societal treatment, from the courts based on an abundance of diversity and experience, even life experience. I used to always tell them, defendants in my court, I'm like, just because you came to jail doesn't mean you got to keep coming. You still got a life to live. You can make a success out of the rest of it. So it's not the end of the world. Just as long as you're alive and breathing, you still got some life to live.
Some time.
Yeah.
Got some time.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So I think those experiences help along the way.
Into like all the judges that you worked alongside, I know you guys probably have a pretty big caseload. Do you guys kind of pull from each other to kind of make a melting pot of the experiences you have, or is it more like an isolated island?
You're on your own island. Yeah, you're on your own island.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. It's but you've got so much going on in that one courtroom. You're busy.
Yeah.
And they're all busy in their,
their own
in their various courtrooms. Yeah. So it's tough. I mean, even to, sometimes get a chance to go out to lunch together can be a little bit tough sometimes, but.
Yeah, they really working the civil servants pretty hard.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, to stay on top of keep all the balls in the air.
Right. What do you think? Going back to experiences, by the way, coming from defense attorney, judge, back to defense attorney, what do you feel like is the most significant thing you've learned while behind the bench that you apply now?
Preparation. I mean, I try to always be prepared, even as a defense attorney before I was judge. But in a courtroom, because like I mentioned, it is so busy. If you come in now as a defense attorney and you endear yourself to the court by being very well prepared, everything is very regimented, everything is laid out. So when I go in now. And my clients like the fact that the judge on the bench says, "Good morning, Judge," and so I have a standard to uphold. So, when, in fact, one of the judges told me, was it today? Yeah, he told me, it's like, "Man, you filled that paperwork out so fast, I'm not ready." I said, "Well, Judge, that's the first time I was ever accused of doing anything too fast,
Yeah.
But you know what they're looking for. And you really, if you can provide what they're looking for, they know that when you come in there, things are going to go like this, and they like you for that because you're the one that's helping them get to lunch on time,
I got you.
So, you want to keep it moving and you want to know what comes next and what they anticipate.
Yeah, and since you're a representative of the individual on trial, you're basically showing that person as extremely well organized in a way.
Exactly.
So you're saying, hey, I'm being accused of this, and here I've treated this very seriously, and here's everything done as seriously as possible.
That's right.
So your biggest advice to someone that they may not know as a lawyer is even if you are very organized and prepared for each case, double down on that.
Mm-hmm.
Got you.
That's a good thing to keep in mind. And one of the things that you and I talked about before we started today was so funny because, I'm very regimented, OCD, and
Yeah.
I had friends that come to my house and they don't want to touch anything because they think
The
everything is
museum?
so perfect. Yeah, they call it the museum. But one of my friends, she said, "You're so organized. It's just terrifying. I don't like coming here because." I said, "Yeah, but guess what? I'll never mess up your case." And she was like, "You're right." So
True.
she said, "If I ever needed somebody," so when she got divorced, she came back to me. You know.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Now don't touch that newspaper right there." But it helps you if you're organized and if you can anticipate what comes next. You're probably gonna win.
Yeah.
You know?
I got you. When you were talking about organization and I was thinking about a lot of papers out everywhere, and it made me think of Better Call Saul. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I have.
So kind of, all right, I'm going to wrap up, I think, on this. So give me your thoughts as both judge and attorney on how accurate or inaccurate that show is.
It's accurate.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's accurate. I mean, it depends on the various personalities that you deal with.
Yeah.
But for example, even when I was a baby lawyer, I could look at somebody's office and I could tell, oh, this dude's about to lose this case because he doesn't even know where this is or that.
Man.
He can't find his own ass with both hands.
Yeah.
But his papers are all piled up and in different files and stuff, and that ain't gonna help you.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if you have somebody who's organized and competent and but again, I think for somebody who's new, get you a competent mentor, somebody that can help you kind of learn the way.
Got you.
Be fine. Yeah.
So always learn from those that have already seen some battles.
That's right. Why reinvent the wheel, right?
Right. Exactly. All right. One last question. How many cases, because always we see in the movies or TV shows people reciting cases and referring to cases. Mm-hmm. How many cases do you think you cite on a monthly basis?
Probably none.
None?
I mean, it's like anything else. You pull it out of your trick bag when you need it, but
yeah,
that's
that's
TV.
just pure fiction.
That's TV.
I got you.
And when they're talking about Article 7, Section 8, really, just tell me what you're talking about here. Just give me these numbers. Nobody remembers these numbers,
Yeah.
But that's how it works. So it makes good TV though.
Yeah, it does make good TV.
Yeah.
So be organized, be personable. Have people know who you are, what you do, and just bring value whenever you can.
That's it. That's it.
And that's it.
And always go to Judge George Powell on Instagram.
Yeah. I was just gonna. So of course. So if you are in a bind, first and foremost, shut your mouth. Right.
Hey, there you go.
Was it plead the fifth?
There you.
I'm doing way off.
That's good.
Is it plead the fifth?
Well, no, you just don't want to even say that. Don't even say anything.
Oh,
just,
okay.
Just zip it. The only thing is you want to identify who you are. Because if you don't do that, you're going to jail.
Yeah. So real quick, to roll it back, like let's say I'm getting arrested right now for I don't know. I don't want to say anything terrible. Let's say I'm getting arrested for some BS, like I'm going 170 miles per hour on the highway.
Okay.
I mean that's a normal speed, right?
That can be dangerous though.
Yeah, I know. I'm kidding. But I was gonna say because they'll arrest you for a certain speed, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So let's say they're arresting me for my speed.
Mm-hmm.
They're reading my rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the next? What is step by step? What should I be doing?
There's only like 2 steps. You know?
Okay.
You know, if they want to identify you and, you know, go ahead and admit who you are,
Yeah.
you know, if you don't, you're going to jail, but on top of that, you're going to have a charge in addition to whatever it is they're arresting you for. You know?
Oh, so you
But-
have to identify yourself.
Yeah, if you don't do that,
I remember I saw some videos. This is why it's always, you got to check your sources, right? That like you don't have to identify yourself. Is like
I don't know where that was, but that
yeah,
was in Texas.
you need to identify yourself.
Yeah, identify yourself. And, you know, and a lot of people, I guess if they feel like I have a warrant or I might have a warrant or I don't have a license or something, you know, whatever reason that they don't want to identify themselves, you're just going to make matters worse.
Okay.
Because you have to under Texas
So
law.
comply.
Yeah, and then after that say, I'd rather not say anything else until my lawyer is here. And that's
Okay.
it.
That's
know?
it.
Say those things and you're done.
Now, so they take all your stuff, right?
If you're in being arrested?
Yeah. So how, okay. So, I mean, the likelihood that someone's going to remember your number,
Mm-hmm.
how would someone contact you when they have no way to get in touch?
Well, most of them know because I've been judged. They're familiar with the name Judge George Powell, and I always use the whole name. And they will call their family members, and their family members will reach out.
Okay. What if I'm a terrible millennial like myself that cannot remember a single number?
I don't remember one either. You know, they're all on my phone. You know.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What's the case there?
As long as they know the name, their family member can find me. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If they you know.
Well, I meant like, what if I can't remember my family member's number?
Oh, I see what you're saying. If
And
you can't
like,
reach them.
how am I going to reach someone? Can you ask, hey, can you look up so and so on my phone and tell me the number? Or
Oh, typically they'll do that for you.
Oh, okay,
They'll let
okay.
you make a call or.
Gotcha.
You know. Yeah. They're law enforcement. Although they've done a lot better than previous law enforcement administrations. They're kind of a kinder, gentler group of people, and
In Houston, you mean?
they're a little more lenient.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know how long that's going to last because so many things are just getting out of control now. You know,
Yeah.
and so, you know, and then I would suspect in September when we get constitutional carry, shit is going to hit the fan.
Okay.
You know,
What's going on with that? Explain what's constitutional carry. Explain that for the viewership.
Okay.
All 382.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
With are you familiar with a license to carry?
Yeah.
Okay.
So license to carry obviously has to be concealed. Can't go into some areas, right?
Actually, you don't have to have it concealed anymore. But like for example, with my so whereas it used to be called concealed carry, and now it's licensed to carry, you can carry it open or you.
And
can
this is
carry
constitutional.
Concealed. No.
Okay.
This is as it currently exists.
Oh.
Constitutional carry won't come into effect until September.
Okay.
So, which incidentally, with my license to carry, I would never carry my gun open because when stop and go gets robbed and you're in line, you're the first person that's going to get shot.
Yeah.
So conceal your gun at all times anyway.
Yeah.
But under constitutional carry, anybody who does not have a felony can carry their gun. So,
Whoa.
yeah, it's about to go down.
Just Jesus Christ.
Exactly. So, you know, while I'm in favor of people who are qualified to carrying, I'm highly in favor of that. I'm one of them. But I worry about people who just, you know, I bought this Glock, you know, and I've never used it before, but, you know, when something happens, I'm just going to use it. Okay. That's dangerous.
You don't have to go to classes or anything.
No. At least, and I'd have to.
So I have
review it.
2.5 months until pure anarchy.
Hopefully it's not the purge, you know. But
geez, you went to purge,
you know. And I'm going to have to review it because I don't think you have to do a class or anything because that's what you currently have to do. That's what I did.
Yeah.
You know, the class and all that, and that's what you would have to do right now.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get the license to carry, but if you just wait till September, you're not, you know.
Well,
shit. Having to take the class. So, but hopefully shit doesn't get out of control. That's all.
Man.
You know.
So does that include just handguns or just like everything.
Well, long guns, you can carry that around in your car anyway. So,
yeah. So it's just in your car or on your person?
On your person.
So can you after September, Texas can have people be just walking around with long guns?
Well, long guns aren't illegal now. I mean, you don't want to be. I mean, I'm sure you've seen like places like Angleton, where they're out in front of the courthouse or wherever with their rifles or their AR-15s or their M16s or whatever the hell they got. But I mean, typically you won't find somebody walking around with one.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had clients that have gotten arrested with those, but ordinarily it'll be during the commission of some crime,
Yeah.
So just possessing it is not the crime. So
see, I didn't even know that. So I could just walk around with my AR.
Well, it's probably not advisable.
Not advisable.
Yeah.
Not advisable. I mean, I have no reason to, but
Mm-hmm.
so okay. Well, thanks for the clarification on that. So pure anarchy in September. So, but to go back to so for someone who gets in a pickle, let's just call it a pickle, and you have really strong forearms to open that jar to help them out. So identify yourself, shut up.
Those two things in that order.
And ask for Judge George Powell. And if for some reason, if you're on Instagram, you can follow him at Judge George Powell. And I don't have your number memorized. So what number are they calling?
They could call 281-785-8850.
Got you. And that will get you in touch with an absolute all-star that has experience both behind and in front of the bench, and will likely be able to get you out of said pickle.
There you go.
So thanks again for coming on. Thanks for answering some of my sillier questions.
We always have silly questions, you and I.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm definitely, speaking of that, good times, I know I'm going to have to come out and socialize a little bit.
Definitely.
But as always, best dressed in the room. Thanks for coming on. And for those obviously listening, I believe this is the 4th episode of season 2, Texas Tea. And Gonzalo's telling me that it's the 6th episode. I don't know. I'm out of whack. Really tired today. But thanks for listening, guys. If you have any questions for the judge, as always, put them down in the comments below or call him on his number. If you have a pending case or something that's you need handled, you can give him a call or go on Instagram and find him. If you guys want to watch other episodes of Texas Tea, you can, of course, go to Texas Tea Podcast on YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram at TXTTEA Podcast. That is at TXT Podcast, and you can find us also on Facebook there and TikTok, I believe, though we haven't really posted anything. We'll be posting more content soon. Thanks for joining. We're going to keep rolling some of your favorites around here. I know no one will top the judge, but once again, thanks again for coming on, Judge, and we'll see you guys next time.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries,
Appreciate
man.
it.